Hello, welcome back. I'm developing an open world story, puzzle, and exploration game. And now, finally, I'm proud to say I'm within 1 year of release. Hopefully, that's my projected release about a year from now, next May. The big things to announce are that the story is finally implemented. It's not done, it's written, the script is done for the most part, but now all the cinematics are in the game. I gotta admit, it turned out longer than I anticipated. When I added up all the running times for the cinematics, it came to 4 hours. So that's interesting. I implemented it, which is a big task. There's a lot of pieces to cinematics and just the implementation of them and making sure it all flows together. And some of them tie to player events. Creating all those takes a lot of time as well. So the hard part's done, which is a big relief. I feel I could see the finish line. I'm on the home stretch. So what's left is they still need voiceover. They need final music, and there will be some polish, which is small stuff that as I go through them, there's little things. There might be camera shake or particle effects or sound effects that just to enhance them a little bit. That'll be more of the polish pass is last several months when I feel the game is as bug free, performant as possible. I'll go in and add more polish to everything. So that's a huge weight lifted. I've been grinding on the story for this game for most of the time. It's taken years to get all these cinematics implemented. I usually develop the world at the same time as creating the cinematic because the locations are built with the story in mind. So when I know that there's a story in a particular part of the world, then I start adding the props, assets, and developing the landscape, things like that. Now I can move on to all the other little things that have been neglected. One of those other things at the moment is I'm in the middle of a massive rework to the save system. The save system's been developed along with the game. I feel that's the best way to do it, to try to get, you don't want to save it to the end. So the save system, originally, the game was intended to be played more as a one-way journey through the world. There's 5 levels, each a large open world, and you journey through them sequentially. And that's how it's been for forever. But I've recently decided to change that. So now I'm adding the ability for players to move back and forth between the levels, which requires rewriting a massive chunk of the save system so that the whole game is, saved rather than just the current level the player is on. This means, saving the status of all the objectives and things in all of the levels rather than just the most recent level. And most of that rewrite is done, just some final tweaks and bug fixes and testing that need to happen. But I think what this will do is really make the game feel open world, where it's not just like within the level, but the entire game you can move back and forth. And I think that's will be a cool experience. And the other benefit will be, at the end of the game, if players want to, they can go back and finish off missing achievements, things like that that may have been skipped the first time through. So I think that's a big positive change. So that's in the works. And another update that's fairly recent has to do with the UI and the HUD of the game. I went through and did a pass of all of the imagery for the user interface and sharpened them up, made them higher resolution. Basically, I took what I already had, put it in the Photoshop, blew it up, and traced over it because I didn't have the source files. I couldn't find them. The user interface has been existing for a little while now, and I just kind of lost what I had. But I wanted to make things look sharper, so I didn't mind redoing all of the imagery, a lot higher fidelity, a lot higher resolution, and just feels sharper and better and cleaner. So that's a nice update. And there's still some other interface HUD changes I have planned to make things just feel a little more higher end, professional, and redo the main menu, which right now there's a lot of wasted space in the main menu. I want to make better use of the screen and have some bigger panels that pop out when you want to load a game and give it more room to breathe. Right now, things are a little condensed at the main menu. So that'll be ongoing. I throw this in with the interface because it's part of the user experience that's not in the game. I want to do the settings, give the game settings an overhaul. There's a lot of stuff in there that I threw in, some of it for the testing and development phase. I want to streamline the settings, make it a lot more quicker for players to get in and out, and change the things they're focused on, and not have to get bogged down with a ton of settings. Little overhaul there would be nice. Another thing with the save system, and this is sort of interface related, there's how the slots work for the save system. Maybe allow players to create as many as they want, add and delete save slots. Right now, I have it hard coded so you can have 4 save games, and you kind of see that there's 4 slots and they're either available or not available. Maybe I'll add a way to add more than 4. Maybe I'll start with 1 and have a little plus sign thing you can click and add additional as you want. So that's part of the main menu overhaul as well. When it comes to developing this game, the saving and loading system has always been my biggest challenge. It seems like I'm always stuck on various bugs, things not loading properly. So there's a lot of work to do with the save system. It's definitely requires thorough testing. One reason it's so complicated and challenging is I get nervous of the fact if something doesn't load correctly, the player could have a ruined game, might get stuck permanently, unable to progress in the game because an objective or something didn't load properly. So I really try to do a good job thoroughly testing and making sure there won't be that situation can't arise. I've had situations in my previous game where somebody, they were loading outside the bounds of the world. They were permanently stuck, couldn't do anything. They had to send me their save file, and I loaded it up in the engine and got them to safety, and then saved that version for them, and then sent the save file back to them, and then they were able to continue on. But I just want to try to avoid things like that happening as much as possible. So let's talk about some things outside the game, and that has to do with marketing, which is always fun, especially for solo developers that have limited only so many hours in a day to do all the various tasks and things. And I started strong with marketing this game in the beginning, but then I gave it a back seat so I can grind out and get to the finish line a little quicker. And now I'm going to have to start up the marketing end of this game a lot more furiously. And that includes cutting a new trailer, a final trailer, submitting to festivals and trying to get in as many as possible, Steam Fest, updating the Steam page, putting the game on all the different websites, and then there's just doing social media on a daily and weekly basis. It's very time consuming, and I'm gearing up to start that process soon. So that said, I spent some time, and it's been about 2 months. 2 months ago, I spent some time redoing the entire final art for the game. And I think the art for the game, the marketing material for the game is super important because it's the thing the players first see when they're browsing the store. And I've been slaving over this stuff for years, trying to get to the right visual. I've gone through several iterations. I think the Steam store has been updated 2 or 3 times with new art. I've changed the logo several different times. I've never been fully satisfied. I take a lot of inspiration from my previous game, The Companion, which I kinda landed on that art immediately. I kinda got lucky, and I think the art for that game is what drove it to be as successful as it's been as a first go indie game. And when I say successful, I mean it's sold over 40,000 units, grossed over $100,000. It's not life-changing, successful, but it's successful from as a first-time game. I would say that's pretty successful. And how I describe what I was shooting for is I just wanted it to be striking. Like, it grabs your attention, it has its own style. It doesn't look like mobile game art that you see on an app store. It's my own take, my own visual, my art. It represents the game and, but it's attention grabbing, which usually means striking, contrasting, atmospheric colors and shading and, that sort of thing. So finally, after many moons, many hours, many days, months, years, and after looking at this for 2 months now, I gave myself plenty of time to get sick and tired of it. Here is the finalized marketing materials. Here we are. This is the box art. And I think it's come together really well. I think it'll stand out in the store and hopefully grab some attention. The logo went through many designs on its own. I went with this rich red, blood red color scheme. The eagle character, her color scheme, I usually represent in the game as pink to red color. So I felt this game having the art mostly that color shade is was good. And the dragon was an ad at the end because there was too much empty space in this graphic. So that's adding the dragon inspired me to do some additional things in the game as well, which I think will be exciting. I just added some ornate decorations to the cornering, which I use within the game. And the beam of light, if you've been following my devlogs, that represents the main points of interest that get you to the story of the game. So there's a beam of light shooting down, and it represents light. Then on the logo, I have the eagle character icon, which I felt was appropriate there because I was trying to find a way to implement the eagle into the logo. And I just felt, I tried many different things doing feather motifs and different silhouettes and cutouts of the letters. And it just all felt a little too cumbersome and messy. So here at the end of the day, I threw the silhouette of the eagle next to the logo, and I think that works pretty well. And then the image itself, the background, it's a lake, forest, and mountains. It represents the open world. The coloring and shading is dramatic, atmospheric, cinematic. It's the things that my game are. So I think it turned out well. It will look pretty good in the store, I think. So when it comes to the store, these are all the sizes and different images required for the Steam store. Starting up here with like the game icon. Here's a blown up version of the game icon for what will be on your desktop. And then there's the different panels for all the different assets Steam requires. It's very thematic. I can go into any of these graphics and drill down and adjust each one of these so it fits the sizing more appropriately. And so the Steam page is not updated yet with this imagery. It's the old version, and that's because I still have a lot to get to do the new Steam page. So the other materials I want to put together are GIFs. I want to develop some for the Steam page, I want to cut a new trailer. However, I'm not sure if I will hold off on the Steam page until the trailer's done because the trailer is going to take a little while. So might do the rest first and then the trailer after. New screenshots. The ones on there are so old, outdated. Need to get a whole new crop of screenshots. I want to do a review of all the text that's already there and try to make it more appropriate to the final game. Things have changed over time. The script has morphed. The script has been a living document for 4 years now. So now that the final cinematic is done and everything is in place, so I can, finally develop all the marketing text for the game and get that up there. Also, localizing the Steam page. Once the text is done, then it can be localized. So yeah, there's a lot to do for the Steam page alone. And then once the Steam page is up, I'll start setting up store pages on other sites, probably EGS, GOG. I mean, those are the main other two. So the companions on those as well. So I have a knowledge on how to do it, and it shouldn't take too long. Once the Steam page is done, then you just kind of use the same content for the other pages. So since my last devlog, which was probably 6 months ago, I think it was last November, I went dark for a while. I was grinding away. I was left off at the beginning of Act 4. So each level in my game is, I consider an act, a story act. So I was in Act 4, just in the beginning of it, and I laid out a schedule of my plans. Now I've finished Act 4, finished Act 5, and finished a little epilogue of the game, which is why I feel very good that I happen to be slightly ahead of schedule. I wanted to be story complete by June, and we're about 2 weeks away. So a half a month ahead of schedule, I would say, and that feels pretty good. But now there's still a lot to do. So here's my rundown of the future development. As I just mentioned, the script, I have to lock the script. And that requires playing through the entire game in one playthrough, not a single session, because that'll take way too long, but get to the end in one save file. Once I read all the text one more time, and if I have no more notes or changes, the script will be locked. And that'll be a huge milestone because then it can start getting sent out to voice actors, which is a big task yet to come. So then I'll be swamped with recordings that I'll need to edit and implement. So voice recordings, normally the actors do multiple takes. When I say edit, I need to put all the footage into a audio software, find the best takes. Then I'll export it all as audio clips, import them to the game, and then start putting them where they belong in the cinematics. And then another piece that I do, which is time consuming, is I align the subtitles to the recording. So the voice actors may take different pauses, take their time with lines in different areas than I anticipated. So I don't really know exactly where to start and stop the subtitles. They're implemented, but the timings might be off. So that's another pass to sync up the subtitles with the audio. And a further note on the script, just for if this is interesting to anybody, my first game, The Companion, was about a 5 to 6 hour game, and the script was 55 pages long. This game, the script currently sits at 180 pages. If this was a feature film, that would be a 3-hour movie because in film, one page represents 1 minute of film time. Hopefully it's a quality story. I don't think there's too much filler. I think there's some really nice story beats and everything. And I hope it's a satisfying conclusion. That was a big critique of my first game, is the ending's a bit muddied. It didn't end very gracefully. So I spent a massive amount of time trying to give a nice, solid conclusion to the story. Act 5 seals off a lot of storylines. There's a lot of conclusions happening, and then the epilogue gives a final, concluding punch. So I hope it's satisfying, and uh, enjoyable. So back on tasks to do, I still need to finish off the levels. And what that means is there's all these optional objectives and some puzzles in each level that I are undone. They not started or unfinished. So I need to just go through and finish those up, which do not take as long as cinematics. I have a lot of things already in place, and you just change some parameters, make things a little harder, longer, different, but same types of objectives, and doesn't take too long to get those implemented. It just needs to be done in a way that makes sense. There will definitely be polish passes and also a huge performance pass. Performance passes have been happening, they've been ongoing. I've been doing performance passes every time. It's been a massive challenge for this game, the performance. I started this game when Unreal 5 was in preview, before a version 1 was even out. I couldn't even play the game when I started developing it. Now it's when I play it, it can on my computer, it gets up to 70, 80, 90 frames per second, but I want it to be performant on lower end systems as well. I want it to run on Steam Deck. So these are big tasks to make happen. And there will be a big performance pass that could take in the magnitude of a couple months. And I mentioned interface updates to various things, main menu, game settings, need to get music done. My composer will be on board shortly here. That will be exciting. Music is top priority. It really sets the mood and it's going to tie everything together. I need to cut a new trailer, as I mentioned. That'll take a while. Next playthrough, I'll be doing a lot of recording and trying to gather footage for the trailer, update the Steam page, then finalize a demo. So I have a demo out. I don't recommend trying it. It's not as performant as I'd like. I mean, try it if you want to. It's been up forever, but the new demo will be relatively similar, but we'll have the final polish. It will have the voice acting. The final demo needs to be as polished and good as possible so that I can do Steamfest, the next fest, and I'm aiming for February 2027. So that's a goal. Next fest. I'm going to have to do tons of marketing, starting with this video. Thank you for watching it. Marketing is going to be huge. I'll be doing a lot more posts online, trying to generate a buzz and interest for this game. And it is a lot, but my first game, I created the entire thing in 10 months from scratch to the final product. And I did all the marketing and everything alongside it. I created 3 trailers for it, sent it to, applied to festivals, and just did a lot. So I know it's doable. I'm here 12 months away from my goal, and I know it can happen because I did it before. And it's exciting. Getting closer and closer to the end is very exciting, and I feel lighter. I feel like there's a weight gone, and I can focus on I wouldn't say more fun things because, in my opinion, creating this story is very fun. Like you develop these characters and the camera movements, the dialogue. It's all fun. It's a relief to get to that end, not have to worry like, how am I going to end this? What's satisfying, and is this satisfying enough? And does this sound right? Like there's a big weight just lifted. So that's where we stand today. And I hope you follow me to the finish line. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.